I am sitting here with Robert Hughes Jr.
That's correct.
All right, on behalf of your father,
That's right.
Robert Hughes Sr. Yeah,
Robert Hughes
so
Sr. Most guys don't want to carry the junior name. That's because most guys don't want to be called junior.
yeah,
Your daddy wasn't nothing. He wasn't diddly. My daddy is a Hall of Famer.
Yes, he is
So
a
I'm
Hall
happy
of
to carry
Famer.
the junior name.
Yes, he has a
Uh-huh.
lot under his belt.
Yeah.
So let's start.
Go
He
ahead.
got the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yes,
He got Texas Basketball Hall of
that's
Fame.
correct.
High School Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yes,
And Texas Black Sports Hall of Fame.
that's correct.
And how many championships?
He has
State-
5 state championships.
Oh,
He
my
has
goodness.
3 with I Am Terrell and 2 with the Flying Wildcats of Fort Worth Dunbar.
Okay, that's awesome. So let's touch on the I Am Terrell High School for a second. So
Okay.
that was back in was that the 50s?
Yeah, he was there from 57 till about 1972. Then the school
Okay.
shut down.
Okay,
And then they fired a coach over here and gave him the spot.
all right. So when he was at the Terrell School here in Fort
Yeah.
Worth, that was all black.
Yeah, all black school.
Okay, because that was due to segregation and all that stuff. So let me see. When were you born then?
Yes, I was. I was born in the beautiful month of October, the beautiful day of the 12th,
Okay.
1962.
Okay, yeah. So you was just a little youngin,
Yeah.
but you were still all right. So that's what Libras.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could say that.
Okay, the Libra season.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you was just still kind of watching Daddy then,
Yeah.
learning from him and things like
the
that.
year that I remember with Terrell is 66 was probably 66 is when I remember, because I know guys that played there, they were my idols, and I used to love to see them dunk the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so that was interesting. So then he came to Dunbar.
Dunbar in
And then
72.
that's when he set it off.
Well, they was already on top of the mountain at Terrell, and then he had to come over here for a rebuild.
Okay.
Yeah, because this school had a long history of being sorry. They had the talent. The guys wouldn't push it to the next level. They really had just one good year. Had a good football season. They lost to Jack Yates back in the 60s. Other than that, they were the laughingstocks of all the black high schools. And when I talk to people out of Houston, went to Yates, Worthing, everywhere, they say anytime you play Dunbar, we just chalk it up.
Right.
Easy, except for track though.
Okay.
They were state champions in track in 1973. And we were the track school.
Not the basketball, but
Not
the track.
basketball, football, anything. Tiddlywinks, whatever. It was a track school. And then the guys over here didn't push themselves to the limit. So then my dad came over here, and they were supposed to win the district. They had the best team in town, but the starting 5 quit.
Why?
Didn't want to work hard. Okay, that's 1968, and he had a state team then, but he won district on this side of town, and they had a by-district game. And before they had the by-district game, and it was like the NBA. It was the best of 3
Okay.
because the white schools wanted more than one shot.
Yeah.
beat
To be
Terrell.
able to.
All
yeah.
right, so Terrell won the first game. Now, I was on the bench as a little one. Terrell won the first game. Then they made sure that Polly would win the second game. And I know a lot of people in Fort Worth ISD is going to be mad because you got a nice fella that I know. He was the head coach of that team.
Okay.
Named by Mr. Paul Galvan. And here's the thing, you had a black school, and then he was at a white school, and he was Hispanic. So I know he has a story, Then after that game that they took away.
So you're saying basically the refs cheated?
I'm sorry not to say that, but
Okay, well, I'll
but
say
here,
that. They cheated.
it's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. After the game, the Poly players were hugging the referee. Come to find out, the referee was the Poly's head coach when they was in middle school. So then my daddy went to the meeting. He said, next game, somebody needs to look like me.
Uh-huh.
And that's the first time, and this is what they call it. I don't think, I think it's not a politically correct word. They used to call it salt and pepper officials. You had to have a white ref, and you had to have a black ref.
Oh, that's
now, when the UIL came in, the PVIL refs didn't have no job. Mm-hmm. They're just going to let the white refs ref games. Mm-hmm. And see, my dad helped the black refs get in.
Okay.
And that's why he's mad at some of the refs. I'm the one that helped black refs get in these games, and look at them dogging me out of these games. You know what I'm saying? He would say that. He would only tell me that. He wouldn't tell nobody else that.
Right. So he didn't help them out. Now
then after that, they won that third game, and then they had to play a bi-district game against TJ. That was the tough team in Dallas, Thomas Jefferson. Mm-hmm. Somehow TJ beat Pinkston, Madison, and Lincoln. I can imagine what happened in Roosevelt.
Yeah.
So they played at Lowe's Fieldhouse. The officiating was so bad, somebody in Dallas threw beer bottles on the floor. Well, my dad got charged for that. So they put my dad on a slap of the wrist probation.
Wait, who charged your dad with that?
The UIL. They put us on probation for that.
Okay.
They found it, and it was a big old thing, and I forgot what kind of gate it was called. Like Watergate, Spygate, whatever.
All that stuff.
It was some kind of officials gate, whatever they call it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I was trying to find an ex-player of my daddy that was in that game and what they called it, but they hadn't returned my call yet. Then he had to go to Austin and see. My dad was kind of hot-headed then.
Oh, really?
And they thought he was just going to go down there and just let everybody have it. Now, see, you said you saw me.
Yes, you're king of hot-headed.
Okay.
Everyone knows this.
That is mild compared to my daddy.
Are you serious?
That is mild.
I got to see this.
We got a gym over here named Billingsley.
Uh-huh.
My dad cussed him out and talked about his mama. That's how it was. But see, it was a lot of racial tensions during that time. Mm-hmm. This is the end of the 60s. We know what type of, what was going on, turmoil and everything. He wasn't going to back down. Mm-hmm. And what Billingsley did, he called him and told his boys to quit dunking.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then when we throw the lob pass, and we was really the only school that used to throw that alley-oop. They call it alley-oop, the lob pass. We used to call it the moon pass back in the day. Okay. Turner was the only school that used to use that thing. Mm-hmm. And they used to call it a tech.
Wow.
When you just throw the ball over and you're catching, all that was going on during this time. That used to be a tech. Mm-hmm. So Billingsley was, and then it would come out and dunk out in pregame. So I think Billingsley or somebody said, hey, y'all can't dunk.
So basically the tech was to help out.
Yeah, they had to throw lobs in UIL.
Right, okay.
Matter of fact, another coach told me that he was at a meeting, and when they started integration, they said, hey, they told white basketball coaches, take it easy on the black schools, man. That little hully-gully, that run and shoot or run and gun is not going to work. That's not basketball. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, see, that's why basketball worked for the black man, because we had our own system. Mm-hmm. We weren't running their system. And it was hard for football to make it with blacks because blacks are used to running their system. So there's only one team, there's one state that was historically black school, and that was Jack Yates.
Yeah.
No other black school is one state. Now Lincoln went to the state finals a few years ago. They had that good All-American point guard. He's the quarterback. They haven't won. So, but soon as we went over to UIL, about the first 4 out of 5 years, black schools won that thing.
Wow.
And it's 6-8 now, but it was a big 4-8 in.
Okay.
So then he got put on probation, just a little slap on the wrist. Then they had a big meeting downtown with the principals.
And how did that go?
Man, this is what's sad. They knew we had a good team coming back next year. This team of 69. They had a meeting. The meeting went well. And then we had a principal at Dunbar by the name of Jack Hay made a motion in the meeting and say, I want to make a motion that I Am Terrell cannot be in the playoffs.
Due to the beer gate thing?
Yeah, that's a good name.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Yeah,
beer gate.
beer
Yeah,
gate.
due to
Okay.
the beer gate, this was Jack K. Due to the beer gate, I want to make a motion. Let's see, the principals at the white schools didn't want to make them because it was racial tension
going
and
on.
overtones going on around that time. They didn't want to be the one. And then it hit maybe Time Magazine, I forget, Time Magazine, New York Times, or what he said. And then somebody went down there and told him and said, hey, Mr. Superintendent, you got two choices. You either resign or you quit refereeing. So he quit refereeing. So the principals in Fort Worth didn't want to say anything, not the white principal, but Jack K did at Dunbar.
That's
All right,
wild.
and then later on, I didn't know who Jack A was. So I went home and I said, hey, Daddy, they're getting ready to change the name to Dunbar Middle to about a guy by the name of Jack A. My daddy got up and started cussing me out. I said, I don't know this dude, man.
Why you saying this man's name in my house?
Yeah, so they had a great team in '69. Then they couldn't go to the playoffs. Then he had a great team in 1970 in Terrell. All right, then they played the same team out of Dallas at Region 2 over here at College Station. They played TJ in triple overtime. In the third overtime, TJ makes a shot, and they just run off and start celebrating with 13 seconds left on the clock.
Uh-oh, that was a mistake.
With 13 seconds left on the clock, my dad's trying to call a time. They just let the time go and let TJ win. So now you kind of see, you follow me, the hard times. I mean, he's trying to win.
Yeah.
He's got three states in the PBIL. So now he's trying to win states in the UIL. And these are the barriers. You had problem in 68.
That's right.
69, you had Jack K. did his thing. Then in 1970, you go play TJ again. Triple OT. They make a shot, and 13 seconds run off the clock.
And he's calling a timeout. And they don't even acknowledge it.
And I was at that game, and I saw my daddy going ballistic. I was at that game as a young fella.
So how did your dad, bring it home? Was he frustrated when he came home due to all the barriers that was thrown upon him when he's trying to win state championships? How was it?
One thing he did not bring his anger or his frustration home. And people fail to realize it. They look at him as a Hall of Fame basketball coach, but you got to think, he was a better Hall of Fame dad.
That is awesome.
All right, now I know one time he was frustrated. He had lost the game, and I missed the curfew, and then I had to get a little of the golden Twinkie. But other than that, it was because I was late. It wasn't because he was frustrated because he lost. But he didn't bring none of that frustration home.
That's
at all. He just was father at home, and the household wasn't laxed either. And you stood at attention, and you had to be ready to say yes, sir.
Yes. Do you think that came from his background in the
came from his
military,
background.
or how he grew up?
His home, his household was like the military. But none of them was in the military. It just was no, they came from a discipline that had no audibles. Everybody know what an audible is in football. You see the defense doing this, quarterback changed the play. It wasn't no changing. Whoever was in command, whoever that you went through the chain of command, but boy, that's another story. That's another story. Take another 2 hours. But he didn't bring it home, and then that was where we stopped on the triple overtime thing.
Yes, 13 seconds.
So then, Now Terrell's enrollment is kind of going down. Integration is taking all the blacks, now they're zoned to other schools. The guys, and they shut 2 other black schools down too.
Mm-hmm.
They shut them down before Turl. I think they shut down Como and Kirkpatrick.
Mm-hmm.
And then now all the kids are running off to Poly. And now they're going to ODY.
Okay.
You know, and then Dunbar, just because we're secluded over here in the Stop 6 East with everybody ourselves, we're the only black school to still be standing up right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because we didn't have any schools that were real close. As Turl, you had Tech right down the street that you can throw a rock to.
Mm-hmm.
You had Carter Riverside right across the river you could throw a rock to from Turl.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had people going to Pascal and all these other type of stuff.
Right.
So Turl's in Rome, and then Turl is like they're on that hill.
Mm-hmm.
There's not any neighborhoods
Mm-hmm.
around there. The I-30 and 35, when they put I-30 and 35 around there, then that cut the neighborhoods out.
Okay.
Turl used to get kids from Grand Prairie all the way to Grandview, Texas, all the way to Rutherford. They all had to go to Turl.
Oh, that's a
So
wide
Turl used to
diameter.
have about 4,000 kids, and it started from the 7th grade.
Mm.
Yeah, and then they opened 4 black schools to relieve it,
Mm-hmm.
and then they ended up shutting those schools down. So
Okay.
Turl had to shut down because of enrollment problems, and its logistics and its location.
Right.
So then he's at Dunbar.
Where's Jack A at this time?
Jack A, I don't know where he is.
Was that- okay.
Jack A wasn't here at the time.
Okay,
If Jack
so
A
he's
was
gone.
here,
Yeah, that wasn't gonna be.
I would hate to see
Yeah.
if Jack A and my dad was around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then matter of fact, people in Turl couldn't stand Jack A. You know what I'm saying? That's what they used to tell people on this side of town. Oh, y'all scared of Jack A. When he was over here at Turl, we ran him out of here. They couldn't stand him.
Yeah.
And we still trying to figure out how he got his name over there, but it's the great class of, well, I ain't gonna say great. It was the class of 65. They the one that thought he was a great guy. They got his name over there.
Okay.
But I'm gonna leave that Jack A thing alone. Bless the soul.
Yes. Oh my goodness. We over there now.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, your dad is definitely great dad. I see. Great coach. Everything loyal. See, he had the one assistant coach throughout the whole.
Yeah.
You know, the whole time.
Yeah.
Like you don't even see that. Like
Yeah,
ever.
when he first got here, Coach Rambo has been his assistant coach the whole time.
Yeah.
Dealing with this mess over here. He had guys that were just bona fide losers. They wasn't used to winning.
Yeah.
Nothing. The only thing over here that was winning was track. The
Yeah.
starting 5 quit. So he had to rebound, and he had to rebuild his program. Yeah, and then matter of fact, if you look at the banners up there, we don't even start until 75 and 76. He didn't put the banner of 72 and 73 up there, and 74 and 75. They didn't even put them 2 banners up there.
So he went through a lot of things
Yeah,
to
he
get
went through a lot of things. And then, he had a lot of haters. Now, when you're doing good, you got a lot of haters.
Yeah.
You know, he had tons and tons of them. And his haters wrap around the Dunbar and the so-called Jack A about 20 times.
So what do you think was the top thing that was most disliked about him, whether true or not?
Well, first of all, he's a winner. No nonsense guy. I got on the back of my shirt, on the back of my shirt, we got, if you don't want to do what I do or do what I say, I'll start singing my favorite song by Ray Charles. Hit the road, Jack, or don't you come back. Or I just want plain vanilla basketball. Plain vanilla basketball. You can probably get that insert if you look him up on YouTube.
Plain vanilla?
Plain vanilla basketball. That means he just, vanilla is the first ice cream.
Okay.
And then they put in all the flavors
Right.
in. He just want plain vanilla basketball.
That makes sense.
And I tell you a quick little story. I was playing for him, and then I tried a little tutti frutti.
Why you
And
do
then
that?
right to where that red line was, he burnt the time out and he started choking me. Right in public,
Yeah.
in a packed house.